Alright everybody, welcome back and let's just simply continue from here. So the next thing that we actually have to work on, that is this changing the name, so that whenever we are changing the name, the previous text should disappear, and this is something that I fixed the last time, but again here we are. So let me just simply get that thing done. So just a minute, has the light gone? Hang on for a sec. Alrighty, I'll just simply keep going on live. Like I'll be live until the inverter goes, runs out. Anyway, let's just simply continue. And we are supposed to be working on this part. That simply means that's nothing but the canvas.tsx, and inside this we have this frame editor, frame name input, and input ref we have in here. Just a minute. It has the frame name input, and this is the input box. Frame name editor input, that is fine, and it has from the frame editor itself it is getting handle change and handle key down. So whenever handle key down, let me go here, frame name editor, use frame editor. Here we have this, and the next thing that we have to focus on, that is I've even forgotten what was the bug earlier. Like I fixed it like a week back. Use effector, and then we have handle pointer down. So whenever the pointer down actually happens, event listener, handle pointer down is triggered. Handle finish frame editing text, handle pointer down. Set value finish editing. Do we have start editing here? Update frame name, so that can be updating the frame, that is fine. What are we doing in here, and when is this event triggered? So update frame name, so when the finish editing happens, at that time this is called. And when it comes to updating this, so first of all, frame, and frame is not equals to type is not equals to frame, then return from here, and this is coming from this frame editing state. So when are we double clicking? At that time we have this frame editing state where we have that double clicking event, handle key down, not this one, handle change, not this one either. So where can I have the logic of double clicking? That double click is actually on the shape itself. That simply means it's gonna be part of manager, interaction manager, and double click means we must have it at the end, handle double click as expected. But having said that, handle double click on what? Such a crazy thing. We have this handle double click, this is just simply being returned from here. So whenever we double click on the canvas, not only that, whenever we, what do we do when double click happens? We get the event, point hit shape get position. Once we get the hit shape, there are two ways, like whenever we double click, either that double click is for the frame or the this, if the hit shape is actually frame, in that case is clicked on the if it's not clicked on the frame, then return from here. Otherwise just simply set up frame editing state, frame id is set over there and the frame name is set over there. So these things are just simply set, that is fine. Otherwise that is for the text, that is also fine. That simply means this double click is actually happening on the canvas. Hopefully canvas layers we have over here, context menu we have here, open context menu. Now the bigger question is, we have the interaction manager here, we have this interaction over here. So once we have the interaction, so we have the double click in here as expected. Fine, okay with this. So ultimately when double click clicked, the state gets shaped, I mean saved, and because of that thing the input box appears. Fine, when the input box actually appears, after that we start editing. And what I want, as we start editing, so whenever we change the names and all, at that time the previous this name should disappear. The question is that why do I have this name here? That's the drawing name that we actually have in here, so we have to set it to null, or it shouldn't have any value as such. Let me see if I can do something regarding that. Name frame editor, that is fine. So at this level, whenever the frame id, let me have a look, we have the page id in here, we have the value, that's the value which we are editing right now. We have all the shapes, we have the shape shapes, we have frame editing state, from use frame editing state. This actually comes from here. Ultimately we are definitely saving the frame editing state, and set frame editing state, set forward frame id, that's not required, but frame editing state is being saved, and the type of that frame editing state is that's frame editing state, come on, here it is. So it can be either this or null. So when it comes to this can be the frame id and the name. Alrighty, so we are getting the state over here. Once we actually got the state, so from the shapes we actually try to get the information about the selected frame. So whenever we double click, we actually get the real frame, that is great. And whenever the frame id changes, that simply means this part in here, or the frame name input ref changes, at that time what we are doing, that if there's no frame or the frame type is not frame, then return from here. If that is there, then the data is gonna be the text. From the frame I get the data. Do I get the data? Come on, yes, I do get that. And from that particular data I get the text, that is fine. And that text is nothing but that value, of course, that is right. And then we try frame input ref current focus, and this we try to just simply focus it and select that. Request animation frame, it we are setting the value so that particular value is set, but the shapes value is still there. And if I go to canvas, frame name editor, this is the input box that we actually have, input element that we have. And we start editing this is fine. The only thing is that how am I gonna be removing the previous value, and for that thing I will have to render it as simple as that. But at this level this should be selected, but is this getting selected? Not really. So that is not even getting selected the right way. So what can be the reason behind it? There's one more thing, that is whenever we double click on it, it gets selected. That simply means if I can apply the same thing right here, now let me go to the left sidebar first of all. In the left sidebar I actually have the input. It needs to be autofocused though. Hopefully that is something we have to change here. So in that case, frame name editor, come on, not here, frame name editor, it just need to be auto focused. Yeah, as expected, it does work, and then we can start editing. That is fine, but now we have to remove the previous name as well. And when it comes to this auto focusing stuff, then we can just have this request animation frame, so it can be used directly. If I'm not wrong, it doesn't really matter in that case. Let me see. Yeah, well, it does matter, bro. Next time onwards it works. What is the use of request animation frame? Even in one go, request animation frame does not work. Okay, that is fine. So we are setting the value in there, and once the value is actually set, then that particular that is crazy. There are so many logs already. Log 1 is there. When double click the log 1 and log 2 both ran, we set the value and the frame input ref clg frame input ref dot current. So this is the input box that we actually have, but by default it's not selected. And next time onwards it gets selected. This is something we have to fix. What am I missing? Left sidebar. Autofocus is there, value is there, on blur, finish editing. All these things are already here. On focus event dot target dot select is just directly. event.target.select. What will happen now? Just the same. Oh, I closed that. Crazy. I think that can be opened directly. So many things are opened at the same time. The very first thing is the frame name editor is something that we need to have here. The second thing is that apart from having the frame name editor, what else do we need to have? Framing related stuff, use frame, this part, and over here setting the value is fine, but focusing is gonna be my the next time onwards it works. That is it. It doesn't work for the first time, just like earlier. Start editing, set page ID, and this start editing. So whenever we double click on that particular span, it just starts getting edited. Set editing page ID and set editing name, and that automatically gets focused. Okay, as for this thing, we'll figure it out later. Like, why is this working the second time? The very first time it doesn't work. Yeah, the very first time we have to edit it just like this, and the next time onwards it's gonna be selected. Let's focus on the other thing. There is removing that background text. How can we get that done? So when it comes to removing the background text, that simply means whenever you double click and set the value at the time that needs to be removed. So needs to removed means what? Because when we update, we set the shapes. All the next shapes are set there, and then we invalidate in here. So it's all about changing this part, next shapes, if I'm not wrong. And when it comes to changing that, we have to just get the right frame, and we have to change its data type, and the data name should be empty, and then we have to invalidate. So probably what I think that let me copy this from here. Somewhere here we need to get all the shapes that we have at the end of the day. We need to map through them, where shape.id is gonna be equals to the frame ID well, sort of like that. So if the shape.id is gonna be equals, we are gonna be returning this both the times. So the shape.id is gonna be equals to the frame ID. In that case, dot shape, and the data is gonna be equals to dot shape dot data, and name shape dot data dot. name is gonna be empty strings, and this next shape is gonna be set here. Should be triple equals to the frame, invalidate, and the job is done. Will it work? And yes, it does. But the next time when we actually update the value, come on, there's so much to do. Anyway, this will definitely be a callback. That simply means it just so whenever we are setting the shapes, that should ideally be pushed to the history, but that is something we can even focus later on, but why not do it right here. But pushing some name to the history, okay, what if we do not? Then just shape is gonna be set, you cannot really go back. And what if there is some, no, what if, oh, this is fine, but not here actually, when we update this somewhere here. But the issue is that changing is not really a problem, just whenever we click enter, at that time it's not invalidated. So whenever we click enter, finish editing, when it comes to the finish editing part, it just simply updates it, set frame editing state to null, editing state, that is fine, and this part in fact invalidates it. So it is invalidated. I'm not sure this is running. Updating. Oh well, it is updating. So if it is actually updating, then where is this stopping? Still updating. Updating. Still updating, that simply means it has invalidated this. This should ideally be fine. So whenever we click, at that time it is visible. Pointer down. So whenever pointer down happens, so frame name current contains event.target.as node return, otherwise finish If the frame input name dot current contains event dot target as node, what is the event in here? If that contains, that simply means I'm inside the input box, otherwise I'm outside, so we need to just simply finish editing this step. That is fine. Can't we just simply click on this and go there? Such a headache. Update frame name, and we have this set frame editing state. This should ideally be fine. Let me see what's wrong with this. Now the thing is that I'll have to get a new one. How's this and why is that so that when I click enter I don't see the frame name until I click. Let's see. Overall the hook structure is well, but I noticed a couple of issues. One of them is likely the reason you don't see the frame name immediately after pressing enter. So the next shapes map shape this, and everywhere else you are reading frame data dot text name text dot name, but here you are writing data dot name instead text name. Okay, sorry. Where is that? It actually needs to be sort of like this. Text will have its data dot text and the name. Are we sure about this? Let me see. Okay. Is this the structure? Let me see. Text will have its own coordinates as well, right? So I think that's expected to be like this, but okay, let me see. Let me be sure. Frame shape. Frame editing state. Shape appearance. Text editing state. Frame shape. Enter. That does not work yet. Shape dot data dot text, of course, and text dot name. So this is how the next shape should be. It's sort of the same. Not visible even when we invalidate this. Finish editing. Whenever the frame editing state changes, at that time we have to invalidate this. Well, that doesn't really happen that way. But let me try this invalidate. Wow, that's insane. Set frame editing state to null. So when it comes to rendering this, setting null is important when it comes to finishing it. And once everything is done, we need to invalidate this. As expected. The invalidation actually works in here. So first of all, we need to set it to null so that index disappears. How about this? Oh, come on, am I kidding? First of all, then that's gonna be problematic. That's gonna be problematic because frame name is coming from where? Frame.text. So ultimately we are getting the frame in here, and that frame is the same frame. This will be there. It should ideally be working. So this does not work. Okay, because we are not invalidating them. Alrighty, this seems to be done. So ultimately what I was doing earlier, that is first of all we are setting it to null so that the input disappears, and then we are updating the name and all. So this is the overall flow, because if we do it first then we are awaiting it, that simply means it hasn't really been set to null. That becomes problematic. So anything related to updation and all that should ideally be happening later. Update frame. Even it works directly because we are able to not really do that, but okay. Change the frame name. Yeah, we are able to do it. Okay, finally, thank God, yaar. I mean, it takes. It's not about fixing this. It's like I've done it again. I've done it in past, and now I'm having to do it again. That's problematic thing. If I were doing it for the first time, I would be so happy. Like, oh my God, we did this. But here, never mind. Either. Alrighty, this part is done, and let's focus on some more things. Some more things in the sense. Right now, what is happening that we can create a frame that is right. That can be a top level frame. The well, this is bad. This is actually bad. So when we are creating a frame, just a sec. Problematic. What? Can't we create a frame of these? Yeah, just a sec. If it already has the frame ID, then I should. So the the way we are actually rendering the stuff is something we have to fix now. So when it comes to creating a frame, just show create frame, it depends on this. Huh. Hopefully this is gonna be fine now. The end. Everything. Reload it. Crazy. Why is this not working? We can create the frame of a frame, but we should be able to do it inside this as well. Create frame. So probably we are returning wrappable IDs. Here we are. Wrappable shapes, where they are coming from. Let's go through the code. Wrapping frame, if there's no context return from here. Selected shape ID is the is fine. Wrappable means shapes dot filter selected shape IDs if they are I need to wrap them as well, like everything should be wrappable. Here we are. This is the expected behavior. Great. Select it all. Create another frame. It's still problematic. So whenever we are updating or creating a new frame, so the next shapes wrappable IDs, that is okay. Then if what if something already has the frame ID, so if the shape dot frame ID already exists, return from here, return the shape from here. Here we are. Create the frame. Yeah, this works. I'm gonna be drawing another shape inside this. They are together, and now I can create another frame for this. Well, bad yaar. When I'm creating a frame, there are so many bugs. When I'm actually creating a frame for a particular shape, and if that shape already has the frame ID, that becomes problematic. So what now? ये कर सकते हैं कि I know this is the thing that's causing the issue, because that already had the frame ID, so the same frame is actually being returned from here even if we have the frame. So what I can actually do, how can I fix this? So what I want that when we select it all and wrap everything in a frame, so at that time the children shapes frame ID should not be changing. But when we just simply select a normal shape, then it should be changing. So if I just simply selected normal shapes, they can be frames itself too. That can be a frame as well, right? So this is troublesome, because this is the matter of writing the logic of the so ultimately what do we have to do, that if we select the top level like frame, then the children's frame ID should not be changing. Fine. Same thing should happen here, that if we select the top level, children's frame ID is not really gonna be changing, and that works okay with that. But if I just simply select a child and create a frame, it's bothersome. So if we just suppose selected this frame, so what do we have to do, that once I selected this frame, so we have to change its frame ID if it has any upper parent. This is too much. So this is the top level frame, or ultimately I've selected everything. So when I've selected everything, and if I create the frame, the inner one still remains the same. That is good. But we have to do just the opposite in this case. So when we create a frame in here, so okay, as we are creating the frame, so what is happening? The frame gets created, but the children, they do not get assigned the frame ID. So the first one should be assigned. How can we fix this issue? Suppose we have it here. We created the frame, but this is not the part of the frame. That's the problematic thing. How can this be actually fixed? What can be the logic? That when we select something, and if it already has the frame ID, if it doesn't have the frame ID, it is gonna be assigned. That is okay, right? But if that already has the frame ID, then we need to have one more check. And what's that one more check going to be? So if the shape already has the frame ID, then we have to assign the new frames ID to this. If we actually do that, then this becomes problematic. And when we actually select everything and create a frame, then all the shapes, they'll be part of that. So selecting them all, they are still being selected, or selecting them separately, they are still selected. Okay, crazy. We have to get this logic right here. Let me take the help of AI in here. Not like this, rather just the frame, wrapping frame, because I can't think of the right way. Like I know like that particular if statement needs to be compatible in both the cases, but how can the logic be actually written? I'm not getting the right way to just simply accomplish that. Hence, let's take the help of first of all ChatGPT, if it can write the logic. Write the logic of creating a frame in such a way so that if I select the main if I select the top level frame or all the shapes including top level frame and create a frame, new frames ID should be assigned to the only top level frame shape, and when I select any shape inside the frame shape inside the inside any frame and create a frame the selected shape just that should be assigned the any set the frames I did not alrighty. I've written the logic. Let's see, like I've written the prompt here. Let's see whether it is gonna be able to do that or not. It's been quite confusing, but hopefully it will be able to understand whatever I meant in here. You never change descendants, you only reparent the selected top level nodes. Okay. Give me the simply copy if you can. Once we have all the logic, then we will understand. Let's see. Issues. Create frame shape. Okay, fine. Let's do one thing. Why does it have any type by default? That's insane. So the frame ID is directly passed. That is insane in that case. Let me do one thing. Instead of passing the frame ID in here directly, by default I'm gonna be setting it to null. So whenever creating the frame, so it should be null. Whenever creating any shape, but when the frame is created, that may have the parent ID as well. That is right. Frame is gonna be created. Parent frame ID. That's not that bad either. Okay, if I create a frame, that is right. That is good. Great job so far. Alrighty, this is what I actually wanted. The logic is right. It's just that we have to assign the frame ID like this, because that is specifically from the frame shape, so why not just have it for this only. But probably in future I'm gonna be just simply reassigning the values to all, like the group ID and the frame ID at once, but that is hardly gonna happen, so just in case of frame I'm doing this. Anyway, time to understand the code, exactly what it has done in here. So when it comes to wrapping in frame, we have all the selected shapes IDs. Once we have the selected shapes IDs, we have their IDs and maps. Shapes by ID, that is also fine, no problem as such. We have had selected ancestor. This is a function actually. So shapes to wrap, shapes filter, shapes to wrap in the sense, the shapes that should those should actually have the parent ID of the new frame. So first of all they need to be selected and has selected ancestor. So has selected ancestor means what? What does this do anyway? We'll have to understand this. Let's just simply get this done party. Yeah. So has selected ancestor means we are passing the shape. Once we are passing the shape, so parent ID is gonna be shape.frame ID. That is right. If it has the parent ID, in that case selected shape has the parent ID. Select parent ID, that is fine. Selected ID has parent ID, return true, that simply means it does have the parent. Okay, so when we are passing any shapes, we just simply checks whether that particular shape has the parent or not, and in that case we just simply get the frame ID and then we just simply run a while loop for that particular parent ID. So as long as that parent ID does exist in there. Okay, so if it does have that, then that is great. Otherwise the parent is gonna be shapes by id dot get parent ID. What does this mean? Shapes by IDs, that is right. So if not parent type is not equal to break, otherwise return false. Understand this well. So has selected ancestor. So I pass the shape. Once I pass the shape, I'm in fact running a while loop in here. So parent ID, and that parent ID is actually changing on the go. So the shape that I'm actually passing in here, that is which shape? Shapes dot filter. So it's like all the shapes are being passed in here. Only wrap the highest selected nodes. Okay, so we are filtering from here. So first of all that should be selected, and the second thing is that has selected ancestor. So it should not have any ancestor. So parent ID is the shape that I actually passed in here. Suppose I clicked on a shape. Okay, fine, we got the shape, the shapes dot frame ID. I'll have to ask the AI to explain this part, like I need proper example for it. Anyway, then shapes to wrap, if the length is 0 return from here, otherwise bounce get group bounce shapes to wrap, then that is also fine. Tolerance we already have in here. Normalize shape, we have the rectangle for that is fine as well. Normalized direct, and we are passing the x and y after getting the bounds of the shapes. Okay, that is fine. We have this new frame belongs to the same parent as the wrapped. New frame belongs to the same parent at the wrapped nodes, that is also right. So parent shapes to wrap frame ID, and this, that is fine. Shapes sorted back to front, so that's gonna be compared by the z index. Wrap IDs, shapes to wrap, they are gonna be the wrap IDs. First shape is gonna be ordered shapes. So first shape is gonna be ordered shapes dot find, where wrap ID has shape dot ID. So we got the first shape. Once we have the first index, then we can get the upper and lower. Once we got the upper and lower, so the frame is gonna be created. Once the frame gets created, next shape, so ultimately if it doesn't have wrap IDs, so if that's not a wrappable shape, in that case we have to return from here. If that is, then we are gonna be updating the value. So this is how it just simply goes. They are gonna be the final shapes, and then this is it. We have to just understand this particular part, how this works, and for this thing I need to have proper example. It's hard to imagine like which shape I'm gonna be selecting and how the overall flow is gonna be like. So after understanding this part, the remaining job is gonna be done, but we can get it done late, like after some time. As for right now, it's 1 hour already. Since it is 1 hour, so the over daily goal is to just simply work on it for 2 hours on this project. But as for right now, let's just simply ask the AI to explain the code, and mainly all it already has the code, right? So I just have to understand that last part. Okay. Explain part with the examples and how the flow runs. Let me get some water for myself so that I can just simply have the water and continue. I'll be back within a minute. Alright everybody, so let's just simply continue. The heart of the we need to be hydrated. Okay, so if the answer is yes, we should not wrap this shape separately, because moving its selector ancestor will automatically move it. Simply a simple hierarchy. Is this shape already inside another selected frame? Come on here. So if the answer is yes, we should not wrap this shape separately, because moving its selected ancestor will automatically move it. Okay, fine, hang on for a sec. Is this shape already inside another selected frame? If the answer is yes, we should not wrap this shape separately, because moving its selected ancestor will automatically move it. Simple hierarchy: frame, rectangle and circle. Internally, frame A, ID A. Frame ID is null. Rectangle R, frame ID A, that is right, and this is also fine. Selected IDs are gonna be this. First iteration shape is gonna be, first iteration shape is the frame ID, frame A. Then parent ID is gonna be shape.frame ID. Parent ID is gonna be null, that is right. Once that is actually null, so while parent ID that is false, the loop never runs. So if the parent ID is actually null, the loop is never gonna run. Meaning false, frame has no selected ancestor, so keep it. Meaning frame A has no selected ancestor, So keep it. Second iteration, loop starts, becomes a retro shape has then true, so immediately return. So we ignore this. Third iteration, circle exactly the same thing, returning node. I didn't understand this part. First iteration is clear that the first one doesn't have any parent, so while loop is gonna be false, like, so it will return. Second iteration, shape DAW is gonna be rectangle, so parent ID is gonna be a, loop starts, and when the loop starts, if the selected ID has parent ID, that becomes selected ID has a, okay, which is true. Okay, that is fine, which is true, so immediately return true, meaning rectangle already has selected ancestor frame A, we ignore the rectangle. Third iteration, the same thing happens, final result frame A, only frame A is wrapped. So this is when we selected a frame, and whenever we are selecting a frame, all its children are sort of, they become the part of the preview shapes. Okay. Example number 2, frame A, frame B, frame this. It's gonna be too much here. First of all, I'm not sure about one thing. That is, as soon as we just simply select a single frame, at that time we have the preview shapes. The pointer if is not really being used in here, right? So when we select a frame, just frame is selected, and when we select more than one, so more than one are selected, as simple as that. So if we have frame A, frame B and this, so frame A ID is null, that is right, frame B has A and frame B has the B, that is fine. Selection, frame B is selected, frame rect is selected, circle is selected. If we select the frame A, frame B, parent ID A, selected has A, no, continue. Oh, this is too much. Coming back to the main logic here, wrap in frame has selected ancestor, only wrap the highest selected nodes. So we are filtering the shapes, like all the ones. So first of all, we check whether that is the selected shapes or not, and that is the selected shapes. Then we check if the particular shape that needs to be selected, and that needs to have an ancestor, because if that shape is not selected, so if I didn't really select any shape, and suppose that particular shape does have the frame ID, okay, so it will run, and then we are checking it in here again. So if selected IDs has a parent ID, if it does so, then return true, and if that is not so, that simply means parent is gonna be shapes by id dot get parent dot id. So we got a parent, and once we got its parent, so if parent is not equals to the frame, we are gonna return from here, otherwise parent is gonna be equals to parent id is gonna be equals to frame dot parent id, and then this will run again, and at the end of the day we are gonna be returning false from here. Let's continue from here on tomorrow. I mean, it's too much to understand. Like, I'm not able to get the right logic in here. The overall flow. Few things are making things, few things are not. The last time the logic I had, that was simpler. This time it made it somewhat like has selected ancestor. So shapes to wrap. We are looping through all the shapes. So time to go to the editor, and we don't have any selected shapes as of right now. If I selected this, then we just have one selected shape, as simple as that. This is the one, and we just have 5 selected shapes. So 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them are selected. That is right. So all the shapes are actually selected here. It's better to just simply go through it tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll just simply keep, or probably in the evening also. As of right now, I'm just simply gonna give it a break, and then we'll continue from here on. As of right now, because we have to just simply make it 2 hours, so we already have 40 minutes or something. So let's just simply work on Google Meet project. That would rather be better. So let's close this. And over there as well, thankfully the last time I just post the code to GitHub, so this time we can just simply pull it from there if we lost anything. Otherwise, I don't think I lost the code of this one, but let me see. ls git status, nothing to commit, working directory, git pull if you want to integrate or remove the remote branch of yours. So git pull. You have divergent branches and need to specify how to reconcile them. You can do so by running one of the following commands sometime before your next pull. Git config rebase false, rebase true, merge rebase. You can replace git config with the git config global to set the default preference for all the repositories. You can also pass rebase no rebase command override the configure. What does this mean? Let me even check this part in here. As for this thing, let's get rid of it. We are facing the network issue. Reconnection. Okay, so let's go to this repository. Google Meet. The last time I worked on it, that was 3 days back, and probably yesterday itself I lost the code. Okay, this is fine. So now we have to know the meaning of this, right? That simply means whenever we try loading something, I lose the network connection. Anyway, what does this mean? Alrighty, this message means your local branch and the remote branch have both moved forward independently. Example, remote origin main ABC, local main ABCDE. The remote has commit C, your local has commit D and E. So neither branch is ahead of the other. Git doesn't know how you want to combine them when you run git pull. Actually, two commands, fetch or merge. Git is asking, should I merge these stage rebase or commits on the top of the remote, only allow the fast forward, merge git pull no rebase. So ABC, DE and M. A new merge commit M is created. You can make this the default. Git config pull rebase. Let me see what are the git status. We have decided everything. And what we had here, let me see if I have everything, because it was made on August 4 and I think I don't have any commit before that. As expected, I think when my hard disk got corrupted, I lost the code of this as well. Let me see. I can only check it by running. There could be the high chances, but the good thing is that I have the code on GitHub, so we can just simply create another project. Why is it not able to install this stuff? Definitely I lost the stuff. Packages, DB, collections on the first of all, we don't have node modules, so let's just simply get them. And the real question is that why don't I have the node modules? That simply means I'm on the older version of it. As simple as that. Yeah. How can I see whether I'm on the older version or not? What were the recent changes that I made? Uh, why do I have old here? Anyway, T6 neat flow. This is the old version. And how do I know? The thing is that in the new versions, I didn't have these, like I added the things from my own site. So this is definitely the old version. And even to be precise, if I actually wanna check that, so that can be the video section, because that is the place I made many changes. So participants, video grid, it is commented. So this video grid is actually like everything in here is commented. Local remote. So I should have the remaining code in here, but I do not have that. Link keyboard. Yeah. Alrighty, this project is not complete. That simply means when my hard disk got corrupted, I even lost this code. So whatever was here earlier. So that's only one way. And thank God, I forgot to do one thing. Let me check it. Get it done really quickly. The mistake that I made the last time, I don't wanna remake that. Alrighty, the code is saved. This is the mistake that I made the last time. I haven't really been pushing the code to GitHub, though I'd been committing that, but I hadn't been pushing it to GitHub, and hence when the hard disk got corrupted, I lost everything. This is done, and time to do the same thing with this one as well. Stoppable the code. As for this one, let's just simply exit. There were still few bugs here, so we will fix them here, and that's what I'm actually gonna be working on right now. Not this part. Let's rename it. That's gonna be video calling. Meet app. Git clone everything in here. And as the things are actually getting done, so we can just simply remove the previous stuff as well, or we can these two things, let them be here. Like having the extra stuff doesn't really make us lose anything. What if we need some of the things later in the future from there on? So I'm gonna be having at the end, I'll remove everything. This is the complete version, and in this complete version, inside the app and meeting, and of course we have this, and not only that, we have these many extra files, and they are the ones that need to be organized by install. And meanwhile, let me create .env in here. What can I do? All the environment variables. They just need to be pasted in here. This is the first thing, and then we need to go to this .env. We need to know the environment variables of, I'm not even sure whether the environment variables are right. We have to check this because this is the old version, and in the old version who knows if they were the right ones or not. Package, let's go to the db and env.sample. .env. Alrighty, we've sort of done everything. It's all about getting it installed and then checking it. It's gonna take a lot of time. Network issue right now, crazy, but it's not that bad either. That simply means it should be getting installed really quick, but hopefully it's gonna be done. 28, 38. 10 more packages they need to be installed. Meanwhile, let's just do one thing. Apps, let's work on organizing the code. That's the main goal for now. So we have the components, but we just have one components over here. So how to organize this? Let me see how to organize the components in Next.js. Let me see what it actually says regarding that. The last time what I did, I created the features, and based on the features I actually just simply organized them, and this time it just takes a lot of time, nothing else. Already one dev should be just simply starting this. So ultimately it is saying that marketing dashboard API and all, then components. Components should just have the UI icons, layout and common. Then we should actually have features, and in there I should have them like this. The last time I did the same, this time I'm asked to do it again. We can have the inside the components, we can have proper UI related stuff, buttons, inputs, dialogs, cards. We can have the icons, we can have the layout if needed, so nav bar, sidebar, footer and all. And then we can have the loading, embody, error boundary, and then we can have the features, hooks and all. So each feature is gonna have all its components, hooks, API store. Alrighty, let's follow the same way to just simply organize them. Ultimately, components will have all the common components, then we will have to create something called features, and that feature will have everything related to other stuff. That's not bad either. So compiling it. And what could be the best thing to do in here? We have everything auth related in here, the layout and the remaining stuff. Server component just we have an error here. There are issues in representing the fonts. That's not an issue. Alrighty, this is how it looks like. Hopefully the API environment variables are right, otherwise this will not work. It's not compiling it. Okay, as expected, but probably I'm facing the network issue. Not really. So why it couldn't just load it? Yeah, so the API keys that I actually have, they are not right. That's the thing. And even getting a call. Alrighty then, that was, well, they're right. So the network is the problem. Whatever the case is, that was it for now. I'm gonna be catching up soon. I'll have to just simply go and pick up the call. See you soon.